If you are actively pitching your topics to get on other people's podcasts, chances are you have experienced some no's and or just got been ghosted from time to time and you're wondering why your topic isn't landing. Hey, it's Melanie Benson here. And today, for my Amplify Live, I'm going to take you through a bit of a critique on three topics that got pitched to me and why they're not getting booked. And this is really meant to be not so much a criticism of their topics, but a learning opportunity about what the topic that you're pitching people will do for you, and how to craft really compelling topics using what I call my ROCS method. So my ROCS method is a four-step. Think of it like a messaging system, if you will. This is the same system I teach in Guest Expert System. And I find that a lot of people, they think their topic is really intriguing, but the way it's landing isn't necessarily punchy enough. It's not magnetic enough. And I believe that there are three key reasons to create a very magnetic topic title. One, this is how you get booked. Like your topic, think of it like your topic is your calling card. It's the first thing somebody's experiencing in your pitch. They're usually evaluating, does the topic resonate before they go any further? They may look at your bio or your credibility, your background a little bit and see, okay, is there something else that I'm missing? But the topic is kind of what makes or breaks your pitch to get on a show or to be considered as a speaker. The second thing a magnetic topic does for you is it stops the scroll. Okay. So, uh, one of the things I think we don't realize is we are also, especially if you're on a podcast, you are also grabbing the attention and starting the golden thread. Okay. The golden thread is how you move people to take action and want more from you. If you are on podcasts and you're speaking to build leads and to attract clients, this is really important. Now, the third thing that it does is it will attract more opportunities, more engagements. Normally, when I am kind of creating some buzz and momentum around a topic, I'll get all kinds of people reaching out, going, "Hey, can you come on my podcast? Hey, can you come teach that for my mastermind or in my membership program?" The right topic is going to create a lot of momentum for you. Now, I think what happens sometimes is people, they're kind of doing the spray and pray method. They're hoping somebody grabs their idea, their topic, and just runs with it. But look, most of the great hosts, the people with really popular podcasts, they're getting pitched. I mean, I get pitched 50 topics a week sometimes 100. And so you really need to be able to stand out. So let me take you through these three topics, and I will tell you what is good about them and what could be improved that would have gotten them on my show. All right. So the first one, and I'm not sharing any names because I don't want to offend anybody per se. I just want to give some constructive input so that you, our community, when you're going out with your podcast, can learn what will work better. So, number one pitch that came in, this came in a couple years ago. This was how to become a 10x company. I was like, all right, so there's a little bit of like, okay, you've got my attention, but I'm like, God, it's just so boring. It's generic. And what happens is 1,000 people could teach the same subject, right? And what does it even mean to become a 10x company? So what starts happening for me is like, do they really understand what we do on Amplify Your Success? Do they really understand who the listeners are? It's not going to stand out really. It might create a little bit of intrigue for some people. It's like, I want to 10x my company. But what I think it's missing is some specificity. So as I look at the pitch, they had written a book called Game Changer: How to Be 10x in the Talent Economy. I'm like, that's better. Talent economy is catchy. Like, I don't know exactly what it is, but I want to know what it is. But I don't know if it's relevant to my audience. See, the ROCS method is relevant, outcome driven, credibility boosting, and specific. So there's a little bit of the rocks in there, but it's not enough to get them booked. And I had to go digging. So you don't want your host to have to dig. They're busy. You want your title, this topic, to kind of pop and lead the excitement. Like, you want them to really like want to book you on the topic alone. But let's just say, for the sake of the for the just for giving them the benefit doubt. That's the word I was looking for. Let's just say they're like, okay, I think you can 10x a small business. Here's what I would have done. And this is, if they were in guest expert system, this is how I would have coached them. Go specific. Okay. Okay. So this is maybe not going to land well for some people, but don't be lazy. Don't just use the same generic topic on every single show that you're pitching on. If you're using a podcast booker, you need a podcast booker that's good enough to say, hey, here's what the show is about. We need to kind of fine tune the topic a little bit so that it's more tuned in to what the show's about. Don't make the host do all the work to figure that out. So what I would have said, like, look, if you want to be on my show, try something like how a coach can leap from 50K years to 50K months in 12 months or less. Now, I don't even know if they could pull that off, but that to me is catchy. Like, okay, like if I'm in 50K months and I've been looking for a way to grow, I'm interested. It could have also been how coaches, consultants, and course creators can 10x their revenues in the talent economy. Okay, so again, I'm just taking a swag at this because I don't know what their business is about, but that would have been really intriguing as well. So think, like, how do I create a topic that's relevant to the show, relevant to the listener base, and has a little more specificity? The credibility that comes through in that is really catchy and magnetic. Okay, so that's the first one. Again, it has a lot of promise. If I didn't have any guests, I'd probably book them. But remember, you're probably competing against hundreds of other people who are trying to get on a show. And I think it's really helpful to do this because it will actually help you deliver a better interview. Now, let me get into the second one. The second one, I'm not even going to read the topic yet because the problem with this one is they submitted too many topics. Again, spray and pray. I'll try all these topics and see if I can get one of them on. You're not doing your homework. One of the things I teach in guest expert system that I think it's a little different than what a lot of people are learning is, if you want to get on high profile shows, if you want to get on the right shows, which is a big part of making this work and for you getting an ROI, is think about the topic that's most likely to get picked. You can always circle back and do a good follow-up by saying, hey, I didn't hear back. Maybe the topic wasn't right. I got a couple others in mind. Would you consider this? When you're submitting, like this person submitted like 7 different topics. I'm like, you're making me work too hard. Like, I don't want to have to figure out which topic. Tell me, what topic do you think will stand out? Because you can see on my podcast roster what we've been talking about. Now, I'm going to give this person a suggestion in a minute, and I'll tell you some of the ones that they submitted. But here's something I discovered when I was doing a bunch of pitching about 6 or 7 years ago. I had pitched a guy, and I honestly, I made the same mistake. I didn't really know what his full thing was about, but he was gracious. And I made an assumption based on what his podcast topic is called The Business of Story. And I made an assumption instead of digging deeper. It ended up working out okay, but I think this is a problem because there's more podcasts now, is you don't want to assume. Listen to a couple episodes or have your booker get really familiar with what that podcast host wants. So what I realized was I had pitched him something on my theme at that time, which I had tried to tie it back to him, which was something on branding. And he's like, I don't know if that's really a fit because it is about branding, but he was looking for the story that can come out on branding. And so I pitched him something really unique because I didn't see anything about this. And I said, what if we did something like how your internal story is limiting the reach of your brand? Or your brand story, I think it was. He's like, I love it. It was unique. It was different. And I got to tell you, I got 2 clients in the first 30 days that that episode aired. Literally the day the episode aired, a man was listening to it. He knew his daughter was struggling with her business. He called his daughter and he said, I want you to listen to this podcast right now. And it was mine, at my episode. And the woman literally later that day, she messages me on social media and says, how do I book a consult with you? I think I need to hire you. And she was working with me within 5 days. I think it took her 5 days to kind of figure out the cash and all that and make it work. That's how this works. When your relevant topics are hitting the mark on other people's podcasts that you're a guest on. Now, let me unpack number 2 here. These were some of them. Building a brand online and scaling to $1 million, your mindset and overcoming limiting beliefs, creating demand by solving a problem. You know, as I'm reading this again, I just realized they did a run-on sentence. These aren't all topics. These are a topic and the takeaways. Very bad form. Okay. It was way too confusing, but these all could have been different things. And their topic that they pitched, building a brand online and scaling to $1 million. Again, generic. Okay, there's not a really impactful positioning here and tying it back to what we do on Amplify Your Success. So I would have done something like this. So building a brand online and scaling to $1 million. Okay, I mean, like I get it, but it's not wowing me. Topic suggestion. The one limiting belief keeping you from reaching $1 million in business. Okay. Or the secret to creating demand, solving your client's number one problem. So and scaling to $1 million business, something like that. What you're doing is you're bringing the specificity in. Okay. Like I've had 100 pitches over the last 5 years on how to scale to $1 million business. I'm not going to keep booking people to talk about that. I want something unique and different. So that would be my suggestion on that one. The idea of having the one limiting belief keeping you from reaching $1 million business, I want to listen to that episode. Don't you? Right? It's like, it's so juicy and so compelling. This is why I love when I get to work with people in Guest Expert System. That's my online program. Where we work together for 60 days to really fine tune your topic, make sure you got a really magnetic talk, and to teach you how to pitch and deliver an amazing talk that leads to you making another $125,000 a year in business. Okay. And if it feels better for your brain, you can think about like, how do I add another $12,500 a month? Okay. This stuff works when you really like build your golden thread properly and start with the right topic title. It does amazing things. Now, let's get into number 3. The topic that was pitched to me is conflict resolution skills for leaders. So I'm a little intrigued because conflict is so hard for most entrepreneurs, but there's one inherent problem here. The person that pitches this, and I think it was actually the guests themselves, based on the way the pitch was written, they don't know what my show's about. So I'm immediately like, I don't know. Like I'm looking at their overall materials, and I'm like, they don't understand my show. They're looking for shows. They should be pitching shows that are more corporate based. If they knew my show, where I think the opportunity here is finding a relevant topic to get on my show and understanding our audience is entrepreneurs. Our audience is business owners. They are leaders of businesses that are making a great transformation. Most of them are coaches, consultants, course creators. They're thought leaders. They're change makers. They are people who are building a business around their expertise. And so if they're not pitching to the theme, I'm like, I don't know. Like this, it's like, again, I don't want to have to do all the work. So here would be a suggestion I would coach this expert on to be great on my show. First of all, where is the intersection between what you do, mediation, conflict resolution, and the biggest challenges that they support small business owners and coaches? Like coaches are constantly bumping against so many problems. Depending on how quickly they're growing, they have problems with team members. They have problems with um, clients who buy these big packages and get in over their head, and then they want out. I hear so many horror stories from people who have big seven-figure businesses with all these conflict conflicts and legal issues. There are conflicts with people who they have done some kind of partnership with, and the partner never pays them. Like, I hear this one a lot. Like, I've had some people tell me, "Yep, I did this partnership and they never paid me." I'm like, "Why would you not move forward on that?" Right? So I see a real opportunity here. How could you create a topic? How to avoid the number one conflict coaches face or business owners face, uh, to avoid costly legal snafus. Hey, catchy, interesting. I want to know what the number one conflict is, so I make sure I avoid it. Another version would be how to quickly resolve the biggest time sucking, energy draining conflicts that coaches face. Okay. So again, we can put in the right nouns and verbs where they need to go, but do you feel the difference between conflict resolution skills? Okay. Uh, how to quickly resolve the biggest time-sucking, energy-draining conflict that a coaching business faces. All right, well, if I'm a coaching business, I absolutely am listening to that episode, right? Or, like how to save uh, $50,000 in legal fees with one simple conflict resolution strategy. Oh my god, I totally listening to that episode, right? I'm booking that person on my show. This is where we go from what I call boring, and as my friend Nancy Jutin always says, bye boring bio, well, bye boring topic, and go for a magnetic, interesting, intriguing topic that's going to get you booked, get you listened to, and get you clients and more speaking. So I love doing these makeovers. This is one of the things that I mentioned guest expert systems. One of the things I love the most is when we do the group calls, having people come on the show, or sorry, come on the call and bring their topics, and we massage it and get it so it feels really juicy and exciting. And if you, by the way, there's so many different applications for this. I've had people go through this process, guest expert system, and discover that their lead magnet is titled wrong, that their program is titled wrong. And they start using this process, the ROCS method, to fine tune all of the different things they're titling, and they're getting better results. It's becoming a client magnet instead of like crickets. So you can use this in a lot of different ways. And if you know that your messaging is a little bit challenged, you have a hard time doing this is one of 5 key pieces that we go through during Guest Expert System so that you get the right talk, you get the right topics, and you know how to pitch the right shows, and you're getting booked, and you're turning it into a really fabulous client attraction system. And the bonus, it's turning into even more opportunities because you really know how to turn the buzz and momentum on and turn it into more ideal opportunities flowing in. This is a very powerful system. So guestexpertsystem.com if you want to hear more about it. I'd love to hear your insights from today. Tell me, what's a topic you're trying to get booked on, and what's getting in the way? Where do you think the problem is, and how could you use this process to get some better results?